Welcome to the Miners Coffee Podcast, the show where we'll bring you the best of coffee, entrepreneurship, success, and urban lifestyle. I'm Sarah, full-time coffee fanatic, former barista, and now your host. Together, we'll take a deep dive into what makes the Miners and other companies like it stand apart from the rest. We'll look at how businesses grow from an idea you had just before bed into internationally known enterprises. We'll interview the people who lead the charge and learn what makes them tick. And hopefully, by the end of it, you may be just so inspired to go out and create something from nothing yourself. Today, we will chat with one of the guys who started it all, founder and CEO of the Miners, Egor Kolpakov.
Right.
Almost right.
Yeah, close enough.
If you're new to the Miners brand, we're a specialty coffee shop and roastery which first opened in 2019 in Prague, Czech Republic. Fast forward today, we now have over 7 locations, one of which is in Barcelona, Spain. Not only do we serve some amazing coffee, but our bakery also offers fresh pastries, desserts, and other small bites. We, of course, have our brick and mortar locations, but we also serve our coffee in concept stores and co-working spaces around the city. We were even recently named one of the best cafes in Prague by Prague.org. To put it simply, we make awesome coffee for the ambitious go-getters living an urban lifestyle. Here with us today to talk about how it all works is the man, the myth, the legend, Egor.
Hello. That was heavyweight advertising of the Miners.
Well, thanks for joining us today. It seemed only right that we start things off with you. So how's it going?
Pretty cool. I'm curious who's joining who, actually. Maybe it's you joining me. No? On the podcast.
Joining each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about your personal coffee journey, the challenges you've faced, the success you've had so far. And I'm sure that you've been asked this many times, but for our listeners tuning in, why coffee and how did it all begin?
Well, I think most of the people actually dream about opening like something, they can touch and feel. And especially everyone thinks, okay, like, what do I open? And then, everyone says, well, I like coffee. So it was basically kind of my journey. That's how it started with coffee. But, I had a lot of different business idea, but coffee seemed like a product that you can, work for free, basically, in terms of like, okay, if my business won't be successful, am I able to do it for free? And then I said yes. And that's how we started initially. So yeah, and it was just in the probably first wave of specialty coffee in Prague. So we were like maybe like in top first 10 coffee shops that were opening, serving specialty coffee, AirPress, V60s. So it was quite a unique experience. And then life was totally different at that time because it was like 7 years ago, I think, when I started my first coffee shop.
Oh yeah, 7 years ago.
I think so. Yeah, maybe even 8, but I think it was 2017. And at that time, people used to, spend half an hour to get somewhere where they have good coffee. Mm-hmm. And now people don't do it anymore. So now the culture is totally different.
Yeah, it's really, I'm always amazed by the coffee scene in Prague. There's pretty nice, awesome cafe on like every corner.
Yeah, and I think actually because we are analyzing now a lot of markets, and Prague for us still seems like the biggest competition in terms of like, good coffee shops per capita. And like maybe 4 years ago, we were like just counting how many there are places to drink like good coffee. And I think we just stopped like at around 40, meaning it just like, from the head, not making any research. So I think at that time it was already 100 plus locations. So it's pretty cool, but very competitive.
Yeah.
But also what's good is like we're at least getting 10% of that.
Was there a lot for you to learn in terms of coffee whenever you were first starting out? Were you ever a barista or?
Not really. So actually, it was a funny story because one of the pictures I had like from my childhood when I still was at school, I was pretending to be a barista in my friend's coffee shop. Mm-hmm. And then, when I opened my first coffee shop, I think Forbes wrote about me. The guy just pinned the picture saying, hey, look, that's how it started. So we started together with my friend, and he was managing already like a coffee shop here in Prague. So we kind of, we had an experience, and we had pretty good experience for all together. But I was always more business-driven person, meaning in terms of like meanwhile, he was getting coffee experience. I was getting business development experience.
Yeah.
So, we actually figure out that our skills are matching together pretty well. And I think that's what many coffee shops didn't have at this time, because everyone was just coffee driven, and business wise, it was like total unsuccess. And most of them have closed since then, and then many will be closing later on. But I think initially the biggest difference between us and other like coffee shops is just like we get business to the specialty coffee.
So, as a CEO of a very fast growing coffee chain, what does your daily routine look like?
It changes a lot. Because I was just remembering actually, I was sitting with someone like, was actually a girl who was doing the first marketing for the miners. She's now living somewhere in like Canary Islands, and she came to Prague yesterday or whenever was it. And I remember we were recording a video of like my day at work, like when we just had the JZP. And, I was waking up at 5:30, coming to Slavikova, picking up the boxes with deliveries, bringing them somewhere else. And then, just finishing deliveries at 11. And then still a lot of work until like the end. And now it's really hard to believe that my life was like there. And I was, because it was like so irrational actually what I was doing, because, whenever you are like, hiring people, running like bigger business, like it actually is irrational to do many manual things, because you can hire people to do it while you need to be concentrating on things that will be putting the company much far away. And when you do operational things, they're actually not putting the company far away. So that was funny. But right now it's just meetings. I don't even open my laptop. Like I answer my emails maybe like twice a week. So like often I don't even open the laptop, because, I have like calls from 8 o'clock usually, or meetings from 8 o'clock until like evening. And many of them are meetings with either like of the managers or directors of the companies. One of the companies that we run, or it's someone who is not yet connected to us as a business, but it's potential investors, potential partners, potential franchisees, potential suppliers, potential buyers, so like whatever, like potential people. So it's basically, I think the core work that you as an entrepreneur need to do is actually do networking.
Yeah.
And it's basically like your KPI, how many new people you met this week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I always think it's really interesting. Like the further you get up the chain, the kind of farther away you get from the original product, I guess. But someone told me recently that like CEOs are the ones that get the balls rolling.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then someone else keeps them rolling.
Well, exactly. Because basically like, and kind of me being in a position of CEO right now maybe is not the smartest idea actually.
Yeah, you think?
Because the difference is that there are entrepreneurs and there are managers. These are two different profiles.
Definitely, yeah.
And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, I cannot manage myself. It's really hard to manage others. And that's where the mess creates. And basically we are at the moment of the company when the size is so big that like what I do, I just need to manage everything. And there we just need a good operational manager whose head is built differently, and he needs to think how to optimize that by 2%, that by 1%, and then just play with the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, like I have to do it right now, but I don't know why. But so far I'm doing that. But that's totally different type of game. But if we try to summarize my work and like work of many CEOs, is that we have to work that the business is different in 5 years, not today, not tomorrow. So like whatever we do today, we don't see effect like next year, definitely. But then, today we met and talked to the person who will be like, working with us in 5 years.
Yeah.
Just because we hired them, because we, sold them one of the branches or like whatever. So that's basically what we do. But that's very hard to track because, whatever you do today, it's so far away. So you're not sure did you work well today or not. And that's very hard to answer.
And how do you know you will be ready for when that day comes? Yeah. I was really thinking about how fast the company has grown. I mean, only opening in 2019, right?
Yeah.
And now almost 10 locations, actually.
I mean, it's much more fun than that. Yeah.
Yeah. But, and I obviously don't even know everything that's in progress or what you're working on. But I wonder how you make sure that with fast growth, you maintain quality, stay competitive, but also stay true to your original intent and make sure that we're still churning out good coffee.
Yeah. But, well, actually, what I think... So, okay, let me drop like one big announcement, which I probably many people didn't hear. What we are trying to do as a miners is like become the biggest specialty chain. So we actually have defined the exact number that's like what we want to achieve, and that's 1,000 location. And
1,000.
yeah, and but because we need everything right now, and like we want everything fast, and we want to move fast. We want to do it over 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, so that puts a lot of pressure on us how we do it. But that's what keeps us, challenged. That's the only probably reason why I'm still like highly involved. Otherwise, I would be bored and like already passing someone the management. So then we were thinking a lot about the concept of like quality, as you say, right? Because I think what happened with us is like the bigger we get, the better we get in quality.
Yeah.
And the issue is like when you're a small coffee shop, you hire yourself and then one more person, then you cannot control it, you cannot manage it. When you need to change water filters, you don't have enough money to change the water filters and put proper water filters. And so I think if you're putting priorities in terms of quality, it's much easier to stay with good quality on bigger scale just because you have the funds. Because you have resources, because you can hire people who are just responsible for the quality. And even right now, so we have like, 2 people like visiting daily coffee shops, having like big forms, marking, okay, is the toilet paper like there? Like, is the water jar full? And I think now we getting like new level of quality control, and it's getting better and better and better. And every year, even the coffee gets better and better. Like, when we would consider that many people who are entering the miners right now, they don't, as a baristas, most of them are not like coffee fans, they just work. Because initially it was like only coffee fans.
Yeah.
But these people who just need work are now making better cup of coffee than the coffee fans before, just because we can control it better.
Yeah, less room for human error.
Exactly. And that's why, getting bigger, usually for us at least, means getting better quality on a bigger scale. And I think that's why chains have better opportunities, because then, you as a customer, you're just walking around the new neighborhood that you haven't been to, and then you need to sit down somewhere and get a coffee. What would you choose? Like whatever random coffee shop that, you're questioning about the quality, or like a bigger chain that, okay, you're sure that, the coffee would be the way you like it, or at least you know what to expect. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about, obviously if you have more resources, then you can put those into making sure the quality is staying high.
Yeah.
I feel like if things are running so fast, it could be hard to keep up, but
definitely that's really hard. And it's a challenge. Like we are challenged every day. But one of the reasons is like, because we want to grow. So let's say you want to get to 1,000 locations, right?
Yeah.
And if you have exact goal where you want to get, you start thinking, what team do we need to have to make sure that we can do it and we can sustain it? And then you say, well, we need someone who is like really good at marketing. We need someone who is really good at operations. We need someone who is like the best at coffee. How much does it cost? Well, do we care we have 1,000 locations? No. And then we start spending money, like we already have this 1,000 locations, hiring this team that will be able to maintain the 1,000 locations. And then what turns out is like we are fully prepared. Even with 10 locations, we're ready to have 1,000 locations.
Yeah.
And that's why when there are chains who just have the same amount of locations, but they don't know what they want next, they are not keen on spending more money to actually grow. And that's why that's the difference that you get.
So I would say that this business approach is pretty assertive, maybe even aggressive.
Exactly.
And I wondered if you've seen any downfalls of this so far.
Well, probably nightmares is like, the biggest downfall of that. So the issue is like whenever you grow fast, and we are in capital intensive business and also human intensive business. And like that's the two big parts that you need to control. And one of them is, like now we have a lot of work with exchange rates because we work with a lot with US dollars, euros, Czech crowns. And then like whatever mixes up in the economy, we feel it a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's like, just salary of like 5 people just, decreased. In terms of like, for us, we could spend this money on like salary of like hiring few people, but it's just, the exchange rate dropped. And that's how we lost the money, for example. But so that's why we need to be really hectic in the finance. And actually, there was like a guy sitting there as our CFO advisor. And we have like CFO already. It's in coffee shop, but whatever. Like, who has it? But we have a like CFO advisor, and our finance team is growing a lot. So we actually make sure that, we are not fucking up on any of these things. But also it's like we always need to get new funds to make sure that we grow with the same pace.
Yeah.
Because, to open up this coffee shop, we need to sign a contract 2 years ago. Then we need like €500,000 almost to invest in here. And then we need to secure this money before, but then the economy is, fucked up and the interest rate goes up. And then you have to have all of this into account and make sure that you can pay it off. So for a finance team, I'm pretty sure that's, not kind of warm sleep night.
And they're working hard.
Yeah, definitely. But also it's like when you work and you hire a lot of people, it's really hard to onboard them with a good quality. So basically, I don't have any more personal relationship with like baristas, let's say, just because I'm not sure, like, is it 60, 70 of them already? It's just like impossible for me to know everyone. The problem is because it's not me choosing them anymore. So I'm delegating someone to choose them. And then because I'm delegating that, it's not necessarily mean that I would be hiring that baristas if it would be me.
Right.
Because I have different standards. And then that's one of the issues where we can have the problem. Because now whatever is happening in the company, it's not me doing it directly.
Yeah, you have to trust other people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like the more people you have, the harder it is to make sure that everything happens the way you want it. So, what many things are happening and say, well, I wouldn't do it that way, but it's done already and you cannot undo it. And it's just harder to control.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking before about how like you get further and further away. You are controlling more and more, but also somehow it seems like it's less and less in your control.
And that's why we need to make sure that we are keeping balance in terms of like people who like truly stand for the brand. Because the issue is like you can hire like really good specialists, but just because they don't know much about your history and like all the mistakes you've made over like these years, right?
Yeah.
They're coming in with the best intention, with the best expertise, but they just don't know how the market works, or they don't know like the history about us, or they don't know what we want to do as a brand. And that's why we need to onboard them a lot, talk to them a lot, and it's just kind of time consuming.
Yeah.
I would say.
And so, I mean, when you first started Miners, was your original intention to have 1,000 shops, or how have your priorities changed since starting?
Right. So because Miners is my second coffee company. Before I had like a small coffee shop where I've been working like, from morning to the end, cleaning floors and then go back home. So when I was starting the Miners, I already knew that we were going to build one of the most prominent specialty coffee chains in Europe. It was a goal.
You already knew it.
Exactly. And I mean, because then I met my co-founders, Olda and Oleg, right? And like, Olda came to me, he wanted to open another coffee shop as I had before. I say, okay, well, no, that's not how we're going to work. We say, if you want to join me, we are going to build the biggest chain, or we're not going together. So basically I made him to open the biggest chain. Otherwise he would be running a small coffee shop. I think now he's pretty happy. Yeah. But initially we believed that we want to open just 20 to 40 locations. And different scale. But then, more friends I start meeting, and then, some guy has like 500 locations, another guy has 1,000 locations, and then they ask me, well, why do you want to open just, 200 or like whatever? And then I start thinking, okay, why is it like this number I want to open? And then basically when we defined these 1,000 locations, we define it in a way, okay, what is a big challenge that for us will be fun to solve? Because, building business is like really exhausting and challenging. But if it's not fun enough, then it's not worth it. And basically, we just figure out that 1,000 locations sounds like a fun number. There is no finance, whatever. We didn't do market research. It's not about market research. We're sure that 1,000 locations is definitely it's easy to fit, but and it's not a lot. But it's just now for this stage, it sounds like the number that's
just fun to say.
Exactly, and fun to do.
Yeah.
Because it's finally a nice scale when you don't start thinking, okay, what happens with this, and that. You have to start thinking on a different level. Because even though now we have like 8 or 10, whatever, now we have to behave as we have 1,000 locations. Otherwise, we're not getting to them.
Yeah, big aspirations. Yeah. But like you said, if you aren't dreaming big or pushing forward to the next thing, you would get bored, and however much work it is would be much harder to do if you're not having fun.
Exactly.
How would you say your business life has affected your personal life, or has?
Well, it completely took over my personal life. Yeah. That's the issue. So, because I started business when I was too young. I remember exact day when it happened, but I was 16 and I quit everything I do, like guitars, keyboarding, everything. And I said, okay, now I'm gonna do only business and build my life around the business. So what happened is like, since I'm actually became like a mature person, I didn't do anything except doing business.
Yeah.
And I actually do not know how to live life without working kind of 24/7. And whenever I have weekends, I don't like them because it's just I don't know what to do. I'm not enjoying going to the cafes, and having like weekend brunches. I'm not enjoying like going to the forest. I'm not enjoying going to galleries. So actually, I don't know how to live without work. And that's became like an addiction. That's why when you this big goal, so we actually have a reason to work for. But it's actually getting really hard. But now my wife is completely like joining our business in terms of like helping us with designs, interior designs, graphic designs. I'm pretty sure my son, once he's going to be like 3 years old, he's going to be packaging the coffee beans, but now it's I think kind of the business is number one in terms of like my time and actually my focus.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to make it otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that's like what you would have to do. But are you worried about that?
Not me, but my wife, yes. But it's also good because basically we've built it into our lifestyle. Basically, we have to travel a lot due to our business. And, basically when you travel for work, you still travel not for work also, right? Because you go still research the city. We have a lot of meetings and a lot of friends who are in the business. And that's how you get the community. But it's like a big bubble. You're getting to it, and that's it.
Are you afraid of burning out?
So at one moment, I almost did. So we almost sold the company like almost like a year ago, or like less than a year ago.
Really?
It was like so the issue was like we were entering new market, right? And we had to figure out whether. So basically, before we were purely Czech based company, and then if we're entering new markets, then potential buyers of our company, they cannot be Czech anymore because they wouldn't be interested in other markets. So we were just curious, okay, how much we can get. And we start going to different businesses asking, okay, guys, how much would you pay for us, and so on, so on, so on. And then we figure out that we can sell out and I wouldn't need to work ever again. But I was 26 at that moment. And then the question is like what I had to ask myself, do I want to actually sell out or no? Because the question is like, what else do I do? Because I don't know how to live without work.
Yeah.
And like for me, the only answer would be, okay, I'm just going to build another company. But starting it all from the beginning, it's like I hate it. Like that's the first stages of the business is the hardest one because you don't have budget, you don't have proper team. It's it's the hardest. And now basically we're on a train. It's really hard to stop. Like, even though I'm going to quit, business is going to be like growing heavily for the next 5 years because we have contracts signed, we have people hired, and everything is good. So that time actually was 1 month when I was not sure what to do. And then it was at that time when we were thinking that our target is, opening maybe like 40, 60 coffee shops, something like that. And then I figured out that, okay, I need a bigger aspirational goal. And then I met people who run thousands of applications and they were like making fun of me that I run just, a few of them. I just want to run a few of them. And I figured out that's a game I want to play. So we decided that we're going to fight.
Yeah. So then do you see this 1,000 stores as like the ultimate goal or just the next milestone?
It's just a milestone, definitely. Because basically, like right now, before this meeting, we had another meeting with our directors, and we were talking about, okay, what's next? So we keep thinking what's next, but we decided that this milestone is big enough and good enough for us to actually stop thinking about bigger future for the next few years, because that's a 6 years milestone. Maybe even though we get delayed, okay, let's say it's going to be 10 years milestone. It's nice enough. It's a big period of life.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to reevaluate, okay, what do we want to do next? But so far it's just a milestone, definitely. And we're still going to be young when we reach it. So we have to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of work ahead. I think it's a plenty big enough goal.
Yeah.
But do you think that you will branch out into any other industries during that time, or you're pretty focused here? Because, I mean, it is a lot already.
Exactly. So not unless, but actually until there is going to be an operational director running all the management inside the team, definitely my sole focus is the miners, and I'm not I don't want to defocus because there is just one thing that we have to accomplish. But sooner or later it's going to be someone taking over the daily management, and then it means that I have more time. And as we learned, I don't know what to do
with your free time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll have to go and do something else. And what I see that the biggest issue right now in Europe, and actually in Czech Republic especially, but like I would say Europe overall, is there aren't as many companies as us, meaning we're not big yet, but we're very young. Like we're like 4 years old, and it's just like through COVID and war. Like really, we just worked for 1 full year, like which was without the troubles. And what I see is like we are the fastest and most ambitious projects I see like in the whole Czech Republic, and like that's what funds see too. And then that's what many other businesses think of us too, and that's why many entrepreneurs are coming to me asking them to help to actually grow up and scale up as fast as they do. So what I think will be happening is that we will be helping other businesses who would like to actually scale up as fast as we do, because basically it's just it's the same road.
Yeah,
we have the same team. You go launch new project. So basically maybe becoming like a startup accelerator is one of the things that is going for us for the miners in the future.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
And would there be any specific industries or products that you would be personally interested in working with?
So I think kind of product wise, I don't really care.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm more interested in the founders, because basically whatever business idea is good. Business idea depends what founder you have. So, what do we do? Sell coffee? Like, is it like what a startup idea? Right? Not. So basically whatever we see has a potential and whatever we see has a strong founder, that's a project to go for. And it can be whatever. It can be other gastro project. Maybe we start doing like fast casual, like restaurants, or maybe we go to the services and maybe start doing, drum lessons, whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe we open a skate school and, scale a skate school. So basically, so far we're not limited to what I understand that what we don't have expertise on is IT anyhow. So basically it's definitely not kind of our target businesses, but an industry overall. But I think whatever retail services or gastro is the way for us.
Fair game.
Yeah. That's something that we do. And basically right now we are going a lot into the franchising, right? And like franchising is basically consulting, but also giving the tools, because basically we know what worked and like we have done it ourselves, just, go repeat. So we just, selling the map to find the secret,
But you would have to make sure that the map is very good. I think this is with the franchising, it's letting go even more.
In terms of control?
In terms of control,
definitely. But so as again, I believe that the scale gives you the best result. And for example, imagine you have a coffee shop, right? And you start testing different ideas. Okay, do people like this or do people like this? People like this or people like that? And over time, you're getting experience. And then you're implementing that experience and your business is growing. Now imagine there are 1,000 coffee shops with 1,000 owners. Each of them is testing that idea. Whatever works out, they call each other in the chat, say, guys, look, I've tried that worked out. And everyone starts sharing their best know-how. And that's how they grow immediately faster.
In the best case scenario though, right?
Exactly.
Because you could also have too many cooks in the kitchen.
It's just different kitchens. That's the point. So they cannot hurt. But basically what we're doing is like, franchising, but providing the roadmap. And the more times we will go through roadmap and more time other people will go through our roadmap, more mistakes we will figure out, the better ways we'll figure out how to go there. And we will just figure out how to get there faster or better. Maybe find another ending of the road, which is going to be even more interesting than we think right now. But yeah, that's basically, kind of consulting work.
Yeah.
For us.
So with this philosophy, it kind of seems like maybe you don't have any regrets because you will learn from whatever mistakes or failures you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because as long as this mistake just cost money, it's good. Unless you turn out dead or in prison or something else or ill, whatever. So of course, like whenever we have a mistake, we're like check mark. We will not make this mistake again. And that's the experience actually you want to have from a consultant, right? That he has gone through all these mistakes.
He did it first.
Exactly. Yeah. He paid for them himself. And then you just smell it all apart. But so I think the biggest change for our approach in our business was like what all changed. And that's the advice I actually want to give out to all entrepreneurs, no matter like starting or like ending, whatever, is like get the mentor who has ended up where you want to end up.
Want to be, yeah.
Because basically that was like me running a coffee shop for like a few years. It didn't change much until I get the mentor and I figure out how we need to build the business. Since that, we've built quite interesting chain to nice level where we can retire. And then we found new mentors above that goal who run thousands of locations, and they are mentoring us how to scale faster. We save a lot of money, we save a lot of time, and we get energy from them. Because it's not us thinking, okay, if we do it that way, it might work out. That's the guys who have done what we have to do.
Proven it already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just say, okay, look, I've done it that way, it worked out. Go do it. And sometimes they tell you like really simple things that you thought about like many times, but you thought you cannot be so simple, But many things are as simple as possible. And when you have someone who has proved it and they tell you to do it, that's how it's work out the best.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to have someone from the outside looking in. I find that sometimes I get overwhelmed with my own problems, but if I am trying to help someone else, it's much easier to be objective and to see the long-term goals. And so it's nice that you had these mentors to help you.
Exactly. And actually, there are 2 points in that. So I have a lot of mentors who start helping me to grow faster, but also I'm helping a lot of people to grow them. Because basically what I do, I help them, to build a strategy. And then I'm going deep into their business, figuring out, okay, look, here's the growth point, that's what you need to eliminate. And then I actually started looking at their business and putting it on my business, saying, well, we actually have the same problem, why don't we fix it? And by helping others, actually, that's how I learned about my business too. So, yeah.
So win-win.
Exactly.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. To end, I have some of these this or that questions. So I'm going to say 2 different things, and you have to just, as quickly as possible, pick one. No explanation, no, not too much thinking. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Playlist or podcast?
Playlist.
Espresso or filter?
Filter.
Iced or hot?
Iced.
Barcelona or Prague?
Barcelona.
Working hard or hardly working?
Working hard.
Organized or chaotic?
Chaotic.
Time or money?
Time.
Easily distracted or always focused?
Easily distracted.
Education or experience?
Experience.
See the future or change the past?
Future.
Cherished or respected?
Respected.
Logic or emotion?
Emotion.
False hope or unnecessary anxiety?
Hope.
Massive success by accident or modest success on purpose?
I would say massive success by accident.
Great. So thanks for tuning in to the Miners Coffee Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join us next time as we talk coffee, entrepreneurship, success, and urban lifestyle.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.